Hello and welcome back to another episode of the YesSHECan project. I currently have something in my throat. I'm delighted to be joined by the gorgeous Hellen Ward. Hello, Helen.
Hi, Michelle. How are you?
I'm not too bad, thank you. How are you?
Apart from your frog in your throat,
I know, what's happening? Right, I'm going to take a drink. Let's carry on.
let's have a drink. That's the
Mm.
start I was going to go on. It's a shame it's
Yeah,
not gin and tonic. Never mind.
yeah, definitely. It's a bit too early for that, I think. Um, so for anybody who doesn't know you, could you just give us a brief introduction into who you are and what you do, please?
Yes. Well, I am along with my husband Richard, the co-founder of one of the largest independent hair and beauty salons in the country,
Hmm.
employing just short of 100 staff. So Richard's very much the front man, and I'm very much the business behind. And we started by buying a bankrupt business 30 years ago.
Okay.
We've sort of grown that into a brand. We have a brush called Tangle Angel, which we sell in 40 countries. We have
Wow.
a rose product line, which we of wet goods, so that's shampoos and conditioners things. And I sort of work mainly on that as well.
Okay.
And that's good fun. And I'm also do other things in the hair and beauty industry. I do consultancy
Okay.
and got other involvements in things that are part of the hair and beauty industry. So really it's the business of the hair and beauty sector that
Yeah.
is my speciality.
Okay, brilliant. So you started in the salon and salon industry back in your
Yeah.
teens. Was that like a conscious move for you, or did you kind of fall into it unexpectedly?
Wow, that's so interesting answer that. It was really unconscious. My mum was a hairdresser and
Okay.
my dad was the managing director of a chain of department stores. And I ended up doing a hairdressing traineeship in a department store. So
Oh,
sort of both. But I didn't really want to be a hairdresser.
right.
Um, my parents split up and financially things were a bit tight. So staying on at school was never an option, although the head of fifth form said after to my mum, "Oh, don't tell me she's going to leave school and go and do something stupid like hairdressing." Obviously, not knowing
Ah,
to a hairdresser. So
awkward.
I know, very awkward. I think I would have probably liked to have gone to uni and done something like that, but it wasn't. I'm talking, 40 years ago. It wasn't really an option. So I had to go out to work, and I sort of swept the floor after school, where my mum worked, and washed hair, and I'd always sort of worked like that. So I just thought, oh, I might as well be a hairstylist then. But I'm a dreadful hairdresser.
Oh
I'm
my God.
I'm absolutely dreadful. So, but what I did, I suppose, because I had the gift of the gab, I built up this astonishing clientele because I was just friendly and I loved all my clients. But I'm not a very good hairdresser, but I can do my own hair, which is handy. And I still cut my mum's hair, which is quite easy because she's 82, so she doesn't care. Bless her. But so I sort of, after a couple of years of being on the floor, I realised I loved the industry, but I didn't like the job. And then I suddenly realised I could actually run a shop and actually get involved in the finances and all the stuff that really interested me more in the business side. So I was salon manager at sort of 20 years old, managing a team of people. And in 6 months, I doubled the turnover of the salon. So they very quickly promoted me up to a regional director. So I went all over the UK, with a company car and a brick of a mobile phone, and learnt the industry and learnt the business side of things in all the department stores. So I suppose when I sort of met Richard and we ended up buying a bankrupt business, I suppose I sort of wanted really just to have one big unit, because I'd sort of get in the car and I'd leave, wherever I was, bins in Newcastle, and everything would be fine. And I'd get halfway down the M6 and, someone's handed their notice in and the store manager didn't like X, Y, and Z. And I realised then I didn't want lots of different businesses. I wanted one big business where I could go in,
Focus.
impact it, make changes, run it, and then leave it,
Yeah.
So that's what we did. So we bought a bankrupt business, in 1992, we had like 5 people working for us, all 5 of whom still work for us today, which is amazing. And they're a part of our core team. And we just slowly, I suppose, with his hairdressing skill and my, what I'd learned
Your business acumen, yeah.
And what had to be what, we made the changes slowly. But, you know, it was really tough. It was very hard. We were, you know, we bought a big business. It was 5,000 square feet even then.
Wow.
But it was losing £5 grand a week. And that was in 1992. That was a hell of a lot of money.
But what made you take that decision, especially because it was going bankrupt? How scary was that for you?
Well, it had gone bankrupt and it had worked in it when it had gone bankrupt. So we knew that actually this amazing, you know, we had a beautiful staircase which was worth like, you know, they spent 500 grand on it. So we knew we will never get a start like that again to buy something funky, but we didn't have long to turn it around. So my dad left me my half of the money, and Richard had been saving up to buy a flat, so he put his half the money in, and we just didn't have very long to sort it out, so we had to move back. But it was just silly things like they were sort of, you know, they had this towel service, and you laugh at it now, but that was £2,000 a month, where they would deliver the towels, launder them, pick them up at the end of the day and bring them back the next day. Well, that was £2 grand a month. Well, the first thing I did was buy some Persil and a washing machine and some towels. Just stuff like that. But, you know, after, I mean, we cleaned the floor ourselves with our core team for like 5 years. We didn't even, we didn't turn a profit really for a good 3 or 4 or 5 years. And then we had to pay back Dad.
Yeah.
With interest, by the way, which I wanted to, not that he wanted it, but I wanted it. And then slowly we sort of, you know, it's turning a business around like that that's gone under. It's very difficult, I think, because it's like turning an oil tanker, you know, all those
don't jackknife.
Exactly, but all the little movements eventually get it to turn.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily always one particular thing you do, but it's a culmination of all those little things that add up to the turn. So it's just having the faith, I suppose, and the self-belief to go through it. And I think when you're young, we didn't have children or anything. We didn't have a mortgage. We didn't own our own home.
You think you can accomplish anything, though, don't you, when you're young? That like fear factor and responsibility kind of goes.
There's no fear factor and there's no responsibility. You've hit the nail on the head. So when you get to sort of my age, I'm 55 now, you know, you don't want to be taking any chances because you have a real understanding that if you get it wrong, that's going to impact your pension and your this and your that.
And your kids,
Exactly. One of whom's just texting me now.
It never ends, does it?
It never. I don't know how old your kids are. Mine are 18 and 21, but they never seem to never not need you.
Yeah, mine are 18 and 9. It's like it's such a massive age gap. It's crazy. So with you taking on that kind of challenge, was there any part of you that maybe knew in the back of your mind that you could make a good go of it simply because of your experience with all of the managerial side of things and Richard's with his obviously skill and expertise? Did you know at that time that it was like a perfect match?
Absolutely. I never had any doubts, nor did he. What we were worried about was whether we could get the changes made quickly enough to sustain the losses while we were putting all these things into practice. But it's funny, even now, even through COVID and steering the business through COVID, when so many businesses in our sector, big names have gone under.
Yeah.
I've never not thought we're going to be okay. It's really weird. And there's a, you know, I'm very much into spirituality and you know, self-belief and positive thinking. And when in my heart of hearts, when I know I'm doing something for the right reason, I always get the right result. And if I have that self-belief, but I've learned at my age, if I've got a doubt and I listen to the doubt, if I ignore that, you know, that's a big mistake to ignore that. So it's honing your intuition. But my intuition really always told me we were going to make it. It's just whether or not we had time.
And was there a certain cut-off time that you knew that you had to turn it around?
Well, yeah, I remember sitting one day with my dad came up to look at the finances for us, and he sort of said to me, you need to hurry up. That really terrified me. So then what we did, we got involved with the clothes show live. We're doing an exhibition in Earls Court, and we just, because the salon we bought was very traditional, it was a very sort of conventional salon. We knew we needed to get new customers into it. So we went and just threw out 50% discount cards into the orders. I'd never recommend anyone does that now. But my God, it sort of saved us. And then we sort of honed down our team and just said, these new customers that come in, and this is what I say every day to my current team, they're so precious. You get one chance to look after them and get them to come back again. So that really brought a bit of a fresh injection in, and that really helped us make the changes. And by then, the other things that we'd done had started to make
through.
So we slowly saw that turn, and it was, it came just in time.
Because you, Helen, are like renowned in the industry for being like one of the most well-respected, highly experienced, like business gurus when it comes to salons in the UK. Do you like draw on all of the experience that you've had over the years can you go into somewhere almost like, like the hotel inspector or like kitchen nightmares or something? Can you go in and can you see straight away the things that needs to be changed because of your experience?
I think I can. The thing is, all my years on the road, so I'd be running like a salon, like we had a salon. I'm still in touch with Claire, who was my salon manager, who opened her own salon, the Army and Navy Eastbourne, that had 2 staff. And then I'd go up to Kendall's Manchester, that had 102 staff, and the issues were all the same. The issues were the same, whatever. So I think I sort of learned pretty quickly, and I wrote 3 textbooks that became the framework for the qualification for the City and Guilds diploma in salon management. I think it's called that. It's salon management. Anyway, and those 3 textbooks were pretty much everything I'd learned in all the years, and that's what I teach and educate. And I mean, I think what's interesting is how difficult and different the industry is now post-COVID than it was just 2 or 3 years ago. But the issues are very often the same. I mean, some of the issues the sector are facing now is a shift towards self-employment. And I've set up Salon Employers Association, and we've just become a member, the first trade association to be granted a membership from the CBI in our sector last Friday. So I'm so chuffed about that.
Congratulations.
Yeah, it's fab. So we've just set it up just basically to help people like us that are trying to run the conventional employees in the hair and beauty, which is diminishing because there's a real move towards self-employment post-COVID. The trouble with the long-term implication for the sector is that only people that run a PAYE scheme can employ apprentices. So if the whole industry moves towards self-employment, renting a chair and everything else, the customer's not necessarily going to realise when they come in, this person's renting a chair, whereas they used to be employed. But the owner then becomes sort of more of a glorified landlord and then cannot employ apprentices. So the worry is for the sector long term that, I've got 20 apprentices at the moment, and there are future hairdressers, because you can't really learn our profession as well at a college environment.
No, I don't think so.
Doing an apprenticeship on the salon floor. If you look at the hairdressing family tree, John Frieda used to work for Vidal Sassoon and was his apprentice.
Okay.
etc.
Yeah.
And we have that in our trade, in our shop as well. So if we don't have apprentices, the industry is really going to not necessarily feel it so much in the short term, but in the long term, it's going to be a real difficult issue, and there won't be a way to overcome it. And that's a worry, because we, as a sector, we're one of the largest employer of youngsters that are training on the shop floor. So I think that's where sort of pricked up the ears of the CBI, and we're just saying we have to be protected. And so we need, there's so much talk about levelling up at the moment. Well, we need that to be a fair platform, so that tax-wise, you're not worse off by having employees.
What do you think specifically has caused that shift to go from employed to self-employed?
Really good question. I think it's a sort of a little bit of COVID, where people were working from home, and a lot of clients, breached lockdown, which got me really angry. I was on the telly quite a lot ranting about this. Oh, well, I'm having my hair done in the garden. I've got a girl coming around to the garden. Well, okay. So that it was partly that, because all of those that sort of were going freelance thought, well, why do I need to go back to work? I can just work for myself, work the hours I like, go freelance. Of course, having your hair cut in someone's garden or going to their shed at the end of their garden is not the same experience as going to a lovely salon and having a wonderful experience. Of course it is. So there's a little bit of that. And then I think together with that, there was this very much a move for people to, we've had it at work, I'm sort of, this is a bit of tongue in cheek, but, somebody saying, oh, actually, I'd like to read, I want to be a vet on a Thursday now, so I'm going back to college to do that. There's a lot of COVID sort of analysing life and deciding that actually I want to be an
refocusing, regrouping.
So there was a lot of that as well. And then we didn't get the VAT reduction that hospitality got. So all the time we were closed,
that campaign,
we were the only sector that was still having to pay our rent and our landlords, even though we had zero income through COVID. We can't put what we sell on the back of a bike, and we don't make online sales, because if you want to buy a shampoo, you're going to go to Look Fantastic. You're not going to go to Joe Bloggs' website. So, we were really stung. We were still paying VAT at 20%, even though we don't sell goods, we sell time. Yeah. And we were still paying, we still need our shop. So really, as an industry, as a sector, we're incomparable. There is nobody that compares to us. If you had restaurant A and restaurant B, and one was employing staff and one was putting everyone self-employed, there'd be outcry. Yeah, that's what's happening in our industry. So COVID has changed it massively. And I'm not saying that it's wrong to want to, be a freelancer, or I've always supported freelance, but it's doing the chair rental and then having people that are really technically employed, because you're telling them, I need you to work 10 till 6 and you can only, work Tuesday to Friday, blah, blah, blah. Well, they're an employee then. Yeah, they're not self-employed. So until there's an IR35 test case against our industry, which, if we call for it, then it's difficult. And the VAT threshold doesn't help as well, because, our VAT threshold is quite high at £85,000 a year. So there's a lot of incentive in our industry to stay under it.
Yeah, definitely. And plus the fact as well, though, you touched upon it, it's so damaging to the industry, because you don't want to just go and get your hair cut in somebody's shed. Like you say, it's not about the haircut, especially not for your salon and the things that you've built up. You are providing a whole experience, a whole time of, how can I say it, like pampering and making that person feel really special for that amount of time. And it goes deeper than just the hair, doesn't it? It's
so right. If you look back at lockdown, there were so many. What was the thing that was talked about the most? Not being able to get your hair done, not being able to get
roots.
But what you're saying is so true, because I think what we realised in lockdown was actually emotional well-being, mental health for some of our clients. Mm-hmm. We are not just performing great hair, great beauty. I mean, we do holistic things in the salon and all alternative treatments such as Reiki, acupuncture, and things like that. And we've seen a massive increase in customers who want those sort of treatments. Not, you know, not just about how you look, but how you feel. And hairdressers are, you know, everybody says it. I mean, you've got great hair, but everyone says it. You know, you go to your hairdresser, it's like going to see your shrink. It's not just about your hair done and lying down at the backwash and having a beautiful, relaxing treatment. You do feel amazing. I didn't see my mum for a couple of weeks, and I went down last week to see her, and I cut her hair. And she messaged me the next day. Now, this is a hairdresser telling her daughter, but, you know, I can't tell you what a different person I feel today than I felt yesterday.
Yes, absolutely. And I think people really forget the significance and the impact, the positive impact it has on your mental health too. Even if you're taking out that couple of hours for yourself, that's, you know, we don't know what's going on in people's lives. Us, obviously, as busy women and business owners, to have that time to take away, you wouldn't get that if you were sat there in your own house or if you were sat there in someone else's house, because you're still working. So
you're
that
not
it's,
are you? It's this thing that we need. It's like that. Oh gosh, and when your hair is done, you do feel fantastic.
You do. It's like you walk around like this, don't you?
You do. I mean, if you've had flu or something and then you're lying in bed, do you remember that, you know, when you have that first day out of bed where you wash your hair and you blow dry and you feel better? It's like a marker for, okay, I'm on the mend now. I've washed my hair, I feel better, I've put some makeup on, I feel okay now.
I think we underestimate the salon experience, and I think that's so crucial to what you do in particular, is that you don't just offer. It's not about just the treatments. It's about providing that time for that person.
And it's about, you know, we have a receptionist. We have a brilliant team where our length of service is just like it's nudging on 20 years as an average thing.
Yeah.
Now, what that gives customers, we had a client ring up the other day, and Lou, who's one of our, been with us 26, 27 years. She basically, and she said to the lady, before the lady said what her name was, she said, "Oh, is that Mrs. So-and-so?" I mean, where do you get that? You don't get that anywhere. You don't even get that in the bank manager. There's no relationship-based businesses, and ours is very much a relationship-based business.
Yeah.
So it's not just about that experience. It's about coming in and everyone going, "Oh, hi, how are you?" and seeing the same faces. And I comment on that more than anything else. Your team never changes. They're all still here. They all remember me. They all say hello to me. You know, you can't underestimate how good that makes people feel.
Definitely, and going through different periods of their life as well, and especially like the older generation, they have suffered so much with isolation and things like that. So, you know, to welcome them back like that must have just been incredible.
It was really lovely. It was great to see them back. But the only trouble is, the problem that COVID has caused our sector as well is that everyone's on the same cycle. It's leveling off now, but we'd have salons would be really busy for 3 weeks, and then 6 weeks later, you know, it would be quiet, and then on the 7th week, really busy again. Of course, everyone was on the same timings
cycle.
And that, honestly, that's something that came to me the other day as a bit of a eureka moment. It's off now, but that's what happened. So we were like, we had clients daggers trying to get an appointment with each other, you know, daggers outside. I was here before you, and then 3 weeks we had everyone. It was just on the same cycle. So never mind.
Well, not only with everything that you do, Helen, you're also the vice president of the British Association of Women Entrepreneurs. Reading about that has been so exciting, and I'd love for you to tell the listeners more about that.
Oh yeah, Bowie. Well, of course, I'm a Bowie fan, so we call it Bowie as well. So it's just like, you know, this is my thing. It's meant for me. So Bowie has a really wonderful history. So it's part of YesSHECan Mondial, which was basically started in France after the Second World War as a business network for the women whose husbands had been killed in the war, and they were left running businesses, factories, shoe shops, bakeries, and they didn't know what to do. They were housewives, you know. So they started a little support network, and that was the beginning of it. Now, I love anything with really good provenance like that. And so to see that incarnation now, so yes, I'm vice president of the UK arm of that. We have a Scotland one as well. And it's really, really worthwhile. We meet with across all different industries. I mean, literally the most diverse group of people. And we have lunch, and we have speakers, and we have Zooms, and we share stories, and we mentor young women that are, you know, from any sector that are starting up and haven't got anyone to sound off against. So it's a really worthwhile, it's an invitation only thing. And yeah, we like to keep it really diverse. I mean, Louise, who's our president, she's in financial services. We've got authors. We've got our new member is Irini, who won MasterChef. You know, the Irini, the Greek lady that she's just launched her own cookbook, and she's hoping to do some TV to go all around Greece and find out where her inspiration came from. So, you know, she was our speaker at our last lunch we had, and just hearing her life story, how she made a complete career change at 60, went on MasterChef, won it, started a cookbook, you know, amazing people, very inspirational. So I really love doing that. The other thing that I do in my spare time is
spare time. When do you get any?
I'm vice president of our industry charity, the Hair and Beauty Charity, and that is, I've been involved with that since 2005. I've been on the board of it, so I'm one of the trustees and director and vice president of it. And through lockdown, we had to Zoom every week. We'd normally meet once a month, but we had so many, I mean, horrendous calls for support that were just, I mean, people that, you know, victims of that work in the sector, victims of domestic violence, and people just going to food banks and just having no income, you know. And so that's really close to my heart. I love my work on that.
Not only obviously you take part in these amazing organizations, you're also like a business mentor, like we spoke about before. Could you tell us more about your salon reboot scheme? Because I've got a lot of listeners that are hair and beauty industry.
Yes, so I basically do education, and I do it through L'Oreal, who I work with, and so those were sort of some courses that I did with them. I tend to do new sort of content every year, but the live education thing, you know, I don't know about if you find this, but having your own business can be quite lonely, and actually just want to go and just hear and sit in a room and just hear, yeah, I've got the same problem as you.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter that I turn over £5 million a year, because 4.7 million is going back out again. So my percentages are the same as yours, and I've got exactly the same issue with exactly some of my others. And just hearing that you are not alone,
yeah,
is really important. So that education is something that I do with them, and so we're just planning some new content for next year. But I do like that side of my business, and I have a consultancy which I do. So I just take on a couple of private clients, and I have one that a girl that I'm working with at the moment who's very ambitious to grow her business, and she's growing it really, really well. She's so ambitious that I'm sort of holding her
in a bit.
Go, whoa, hold on, let's just get one thing really, really working well, and then we can move on. So yeah, just like a sounding board, really. Just and I think the thing is, when I speak at conferences and things like that, I often get asked to tell my story, and I think it's really important to say, this is all the things I got wrong. Because people don't want to hear you're really successful, you're doing it all really well. Well, of course they want that, but they also want to hear, what was so difficult? How did you do it? Yeah, how did you have days when you were crying? I never forget, I went to hear someone speaking at a conference once, and she's the owner of a massive brand.
Yeah.
And just basically stood there and told everyone how much money she turned over, how much she sold it for, blah, 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 how fantastic everything was. And she told a bit of a story about how one night it was her and her husband at the kitchen table, like crying because they had a problem, but they sorted it out.
Oh.
And I said, no, everyone in this room wants to know, what were you crying about?
Yeah. How did you do it?
What happened? How long did you feel like crap for? Because actually, when we're feeling like crap, when we're going, oh, we don't know what to do, that is what we're going to take away from that. We're not going to take out how wonderful you are and how many millions you sold your company for. No one's going to take that out.
Exactly, because it seems when you're an entrepreneur and when you're trying to grow your business and experiencing the problems, you kind of feel like when you see somebody, it's wonderful to see how well they've been successful and things like that, but it's so unreachable if you can't find something within their journey and within their story that you can relate to.
It can really alienate you. It can actually really send you on a bit of a spiral downwards.
Definitely.
Oh, well, what am I doing? I must be a prat then, because I
Yeah.
can't make it work. I'm finding it really hard, where she obviously found it so easy, and
So that's not reality, is it? That's the thing.
Reality. And actually afterwards I said to her, you know what, I'd really like to hear what you did at that kitchen table and how you did this and what happened to turn it around, and don't go from that to selling it for millions. It's that middle that's the bit that everyone wants to hear.
Yeah, and that's the bit that's the most important, because that's the bit that shows resilience, determination, and things like that.
So I watched that film King Richard last night, and that's Richard Williams and the father of Venus and Serena Williams, and their story. And there was a whole bit of them. There was a whole bit where it was a first competitive proper tennis match when Venus Williams was 14, and she was playing Arantxa Sanchez Vicario, who was the #1 seeded player in the world at the time. And they showed the whole match because she lost it. She lost the match. And it showed that how her mindset then took her on. So they focused on the bit that she got wrong and what she learned from that to then go on. And it's the same sort of thing. That's what makes it interesting.
Absolutely. And that's the bit that you'll remember.
Yeah. Yeah.
So Helen, you do so much. I don't know how you find the time, but you do so much. Is there any particular arm of what you do that you enjoy the most? And if so, why is that?
You know what? I think it's the charity work I really love. That isn't my day job, because I think really helping people. I mean, we had a trustees meeting last week, and our chairman, Philip, who I love dearly, is the ex-chairman of Vidal Sassoon. He's like, I'm not sure we should put the beneficiaries amounts up. And I said, Philip, cost of living crisis, let's just double it. Let's just, come on, let's just put some noughts on the end of this stuff. Reading a mum that couldn't feed her children and couldn't afford to buy her baby a bed, and the baby was still in a cot because she couldn't afford to buy a bed. That is really, I don't know, maybe she get older, but that feels really nice to actually make a difference and have the wherewithal to decide, right, we're doing that. We're just going to give them more money because they need it. So I love that. I love working on look, I couldn't work from home. I mean, I really envy anyone that can work from home, but part of my job is to go into the salon, and even if I'm sitting at my desk, saying hi to everyone, listening to all the banter, the chat, saying hello to the clients as I'm walking through to the bar to get a drink or something.
Having that connection, isn't it? That personal connection.
I really need that. And the other thing is, I think people in the hair and beauty industry, they tend to really need that. If they've been behind a chair or in a treatment room and they come out of that, they tend to still want to be in the salon somewhere, So yes, I could sit here now, type away from home, but I want to be in there and
having where it's at, don't you?
What everyone's wearing and saying hi to everyone. And I don't think that'll ever leave me. I do love my job. I think it's really important to, especially when you have kids, to sort of really, I've always been very good at compartmentalizing my life. If it's a work day, it's a work day. I don't listen to emails about bake sales, when they were younger. Well, even now, if it's a day off, then I'm not going to look at my work emails. I'm a mum. I'm going to do the school run. I'm going to do the bake sale. I'm going to do the rest of it. So I've always been
that's
quite
your
good
managerial experience. You're able to kind of manage yourself better.
Yes. And I also prefer that. I'm not, although I'm multitasker and I am a good multitasker, I always prefer just to have that split. So I'd rather come into work 3 days a week like I do now, work really hard, do the work of 5 days in 3 days, then on my days off, leave me alone. I try and do
but life gets in the way sometimes, doesn't it? It's difficult.
WhatsApp groups, because in the salon, because we've got so many staff, there's like 14 WhatsApp groups and I'm on all of them.
Oh my gosh. But your phone's like beep 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 beep.
Messages all the time about, we've got training on a new bleach on Tuesday night, and I'm thinking, oh, okay. So yeah. But I like to be busy.
Definitely. I think because you've always been busy from like your teens, it would be odd not to be busy. So I think you're going to struggle when it comes to retirement, aren't you?
I so am. And our daughter is, seriously thinking she might want to take the business over when she finishes uni, and she's doing an internship at the moment with a big industry brand. And it'll be really interesting because when it's a family business, which is what we are, you do have a bit of when do you let mum and dad let go of the reins? There'll be a bit of that. And I suppose I've got to watch her make her mistakes if she does take it over. Or if the rest of the
difficult
day, I'm going to have to sit back and just watch them. I suppose it's like riding a bike, isn't it? You can watch all the videos in the world, but until you get on and crash into the wall, you're not going to know how to do it.
Exactly. The past few years, Helen, have obviously undoubtedly been so difficult for you guys and the industry as a whole. What would you say has been your biggest challenge so far, or the biggest lesson that you've learned that's come out of everything?
I think you really needed to have balls of steel to have a business in COVID in our sector. And I think I really learned that, when you're worrying about everybody else's mental health and how well everyone else is and are they okay, you tend to forget about your own. And actually, I needed to be really strong through COVID, and it's hard because you've got personal stuff going on, and maybe you're having a crap time. I think what I learned is our business had got very big. I wouldn't change COVID. I think it had got we all say now, our close management team, that it probably got a bit too big, and I think the pared down version, which is much tighter, I feel like I'm running a tighter ship now, a better ship. And I think that it's refocused my mind to say, actually, we don't need that, and we don't need that. We need a core group of people. And also,
that's such an honest thing to say.
Yeah, I think so I just think paring it down, we're leaner, we're meaner, and we're stronger because of it.
Yeah.
Tough as it was, but ego can really get in the way sometimes. And
I think you can run on that roller coaster, can't you? And it can be hard to get off, especially when things are going well, and it can kind of snowball quickly out of your control sometimes, can't it?
Yeah, and I think I've always really understood it's about the percentages. It doesn't really matter whether you're turning over that or that or that. It's your percentages. Obviously, we all want to turn over that, but as long as your percentages are right. And I think we took it all back to basics. I think we used lockdown. We rewrote our whole HR. We reevaluated our brand. We reevaluated our team. We all, decided it was a good thing. what happened. It was a good thing.
Give you that time to focus on things to such an in-depth level that you wouldn't have had before.
In that first lockdown, Michelle, we rewrote our HR policies, and when you've got 100 staff, that's quite a big thing to do, and it took us a long time, but it's better because of it. And I think now we're a bit more flexible. So we've had I've had 2 or 3 staff that left in lockdown. One wanted to spend some more time with her young baby. Another one retrained to be an addiction counsellor and was doing that on the side anyway. And some of these people have come back and said, actually, I just want to work 1 or 2 days a week. And because I miss my clients, I miss the salon, I miss the buzz, and I miss the banter, but I'm actually enjoying what I'm doing. So I think people are slowly finding their feet again now. And I'm very flexible with that because I'm a mum, you know, and I've been I'm so flexible with all my mums at work. You know, let us know when you want to, the way you work as a mum. You know, when they're 7 and 5, you're going to want to be doing these hours. When they get to 8, you know, it all changes the whole time. So I say to my mums at work all the time, you
get it. Yeah.
You know, they're young, you're going to want to have the whole of August off and the school holidays off, and you know, we'll try and be as accommodating as we can because I've been there, and it will change just like the way you use your house change. You know, you watch these property programs and they're knocking down walls because they want a playroom, and I keep thinking to myself, trust me,
a short time
that will back up in 7 years' time. That will be going back up. You'll be want to live in one space altogether.
Yeah, definitely. What would you say, Helen, has been your biggest highlight? I bet it's really hard to choose.
Oh yeah. I'm really quite proud of the work we've just done with Salon Employers Association, because that's a non-fee paying thing. We're all just, you know, doing it in our spare time.
Doing it because you're passionate.
Because we're passionate and doing it for the right reasons. And again, it comes back to when I do things in my life for the right reasons, I do tend to get the right result. That's taken me a long time to learn that lesson. If I'm doing something out of ego, even if I'm not an egotistical person, but if I'm doing something just because I think, oh, that's a good, you know, it's never really, when I do something because it's the right thing to do, and I think like the right thing to do, it always works.
You can feel it in your gut, can't you? You know. Yeah.
Honing your gut as a mum. You know, when you have that gut instinct as a mum, you hear a mum like saying, I knew something was wrong with my son, I took him to the doctor, the doctor said, no, it's fine, but I knew. That, you ignore that as you get older at your peril.
Absolutely. So what is coming next for, well, I don't want to just say you, but you, your brand, your businesses, your mentoring, what's next on the horizon?
I think I really want to get SCA. I really want to go in. I really want to now start to get this industry on an even keel and safeguard it. So there's a lot of work we're doing with the CBI. We've got to do reports, we've got to prove to the government that what we're saying is correct. That's going to be my passion. The products, I love working on them, and they're doing well. Which before COVID, unbelievably, we took a massive gamble because we took them out of their plastic and put them in aluminium recyclables. And we said to Waitrose, we really feel this is the right thing to do. And they're bigger sizes and they're pumped and the whole thing's recyclable. And to be honest, we were one of the first brands in our industry to do that and to move away from the plastic. And that was a massive gamble, and that's paid off. Again, if you do something for the right reason, you get the right results. So that's really, I love working on that. The salon's sort of going from strength to strength. It's recovering. We're building back up. Just I've got to get my kids off to uni, back to uni. Then watch out, world. I'm going to be an empty nest.
Oh, bless you. You'll never be at home.
No, I won't be at home much. I mean, I sort of spend my time between here and on the south coast as well, and my home in Ibiza. which I love. So I tend to work like a Trojan, go there, have a week there, come back, work like a Trojan.
Wow.
Yeah. Maybe I'll spend a bit more time there, longer chunks of time. That would be nice.
You'll be browner once the kids have gone to university, won't you?
I'll certainly be more revved up on gin.
Bless you. So how can people find out more about you, what you do? Where shall I point them to?
So I have a website called hellenward.com, Hellen with 2 L's, hellenward.com, and everything I'm up to is on there, including my recent TV appearances, which was horrendous.
No, tell me more.
Oh gosh, I was on Good Morning Britain last week. So when they have one of those debate sections, they tend to sort of want the producers ring up and say, if we were to say this to you, what would you say? And if you say the right thing, then they very often say, okay, well, look, we're thinking of having this debate tomorrow. Nothing's ever set in stone because you don't know what news is going to break in the night. So very often up at 5 a.m, full makeup on, and then got a call to say, just had some breaking news, debates cancelled.
Oh, how rude of the breaking news.
That does happen, which fair enough, you know. So we had one recently about whether it was too hot to work. This was before the massive heat wave, when it was just becoming slightly hot. And people were saying, there was another guy I was on with who was lovely actually, but he was saying, you know, give people the day off, and it gets me so angry because I work in a business that my staff can't work from home. And when there was the train strikes, you know, there was lots of people on the telly saying, well, it's all right, everyone can just work from home. Well, not everyone works on a laptop. You know, people cut hair. We can't do that at home, you know, and the trains don't run. Half the staff can't get to work. So I was just saying, you know, oh, come on, really? Taking down, who's going to pay for it? You know, British industry, there's never this quantifiable. It's like, as a boss, I'm responsible for a lot of things. The weather, no, I can't.
It's out of my hands.
No. Anyway, I got a bit of trolling. So, but you do that now. Oh, it's fine. You know, people do it. I think there's a lot of angry people in the world.
Yeah, very much. I would say definitely more so after COVID as well. It's like everyone has an opinion on everything, and everyone's taking that anger out on everybody else. It's not kind, is it?
You see it a lot, and I, you know, I know it sounds weird, but kindness is just so underrated a value and so important. And just being a kind person, you know, I don't expect people to all agree with me. You can have your own opinion, but you know, can't be gracious about it, you know.
Like, even, it sounds really daft, but sometimes, say if I see like somebody walking down the street and I love her skirt or I like her hair, then I'll always say something. Like, some people, they look at you like you're a weirdo, but the ones that take the compliment, you can just see how much that lifts them for the day. And people
it's so weird you said that, Michelle. The other day there was this random act of kindness, which is what they call that, isn't it? Which is so true. So I've got an electric car and I had to get down to see my mum, and I went to the station to charge it up, which it should give you a full charge in 40 minutes, and none of the things were working. And I tried all 4 of them, and I was late for work. I wanted to charge it, bring it back, park it, get ready to just drive straight down to the coast that night. And I was my dad is really unwell at the moment. So I was just, you know, when you just, one silly thing pushes you over the edge, and it was like the 4th pump I tried and it didn't work. And I just burst into tears, and I just went to the pump attendant and said, you know, how can you have this and it doesn't work? Come on, be here, help people. Anyway, the next time I went in there to charge my car, the lovely girl that works at the coffee place inside the petrol station, the Costa, she came out with this bouquet of flowers for me, and she said, I know you last time you were here, these are for you.
Oh, that's so nice.
But wow, what a thing. And all day long I just kept thinking, oh, there are some nice people in the world. There really are.
Definitely.
So you take someone's dress or their skirt, you know, my daughter Alicia says to me, Mummy, you never know what people are going through. She's just lost one of her 21-year-old friends who's committed suicide last week. She went to the memorial and she said, you never know what people are going through. And you just don't.
No.
So, you know, we mustn't ever be nasty to people because we don't know what they're going through.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there's been a few times where somebody's said that to me, and I've been having a really terrible day, like massively stressful, and they've said, "Oh, I really like your, I don't know, your top. Where is it from?" And then I've told them, and then it's just lifted me so much. Like,
Yeah.
not because they're paying me a compliment, but because somebody else in the world has taken that time out just to give me a few seconds and say something nice. It's like you said, it's so underrated, isn't it?
Well, you know, hair and beauty is renowned. There's been so many surveys where it says it's the job with the greatest satisfaction, intrinsic satisfaction factor. And you know, making people feel good about themselves is quite an addictive thing because everyone that leaves your chair or your couch feels better than when they came in. And that's really, so let's spread a bit more of that.
Think we need to. A lot of my friends are either beauty therapists or hairdressers, and they say that people really, really underestimate, like they have a lot of clients that come in and they tell them about their lives because they've got no one else in their life to tell that they trust enough. And you guys in your industry, you build up that trust with people and give them another outlet for, you know, problems in their life and things.
Well, I mean, it's a well-known fact. I mean, you hear it time and time again. It happened in my mum's, when my mum was a hairstylist. It happened in our salon where the hairdresser's been the one to go, haven't seen that person for a while. Somebody better. You know, you would never have that anywhere else with any other industry, I don't think, where you'd have that. Even a restaurant, it would have a regular, maybe that possibly, but not to the same degree as we would, where we'd go, haven't seen that client for a while. Hope they're okay. Know they were feeling a bit crap. Should we call them?
Yeah, definitely.
Not because we want to put them in, but just they're okay.
Yeah,
you know?
definitely. Oh, Helen, it's been an absolute pleasure to speak to you. I could speak to you all day.
We should. I think we should meet for a gin and tonic with some of the.
Definitely. Let's do that. Well, you take care, and I will put in the show notes about where everybody can find you, and especially all my friends, because they'll be absolutely desperate to hear this episode, that's for sure.
Oh, well, thanks, Michelle. It's been lovely to talk to you, and well done on
you too.
The job that you do with Yes She Can.
Thank you so much.